Alright, hey YouTube, this video is going to be really simple, another talking head video, but today I wanted to discuss the Know Your Why. It's the name of my YouTube channel here. It's a huge belief in my life. Nothing really matters that we do unless we know why we're doing it. For me, it's really simple. My why is I'm a servant of Jesus Christ, and for that He's given me some very clear responsibilities laid out in the Bible. So I'm living my life and doing my best to fulfill those. I have some basic responsibilities as a man, as far as providing and protecting and leading and things like that the Bible lays out, as well as a human and as a Christian, go and tell the world about me and all that from the Bible, or spreading the gospel and all those things, and taking care of the widow and the orphan and some other things. And so the things that I do in my life and prepping and weapons and all that kind of stuff, my training, getting back into physical fitness, getting my body in proper shape and being ready for different situations, keeping good care of my vehicle, having good reliable transportation, making plans as far as procuring another vehicle that's four-wheel drive so I have more capabilities and things like that, is all driven from the why. The why is I want to protect and help God's people. I feel like from what I read in the Bible and my understanding of all of that, that's what God would have me to do. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So everything that I do is from that lens, from that perspective. And I see a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and none of them are necessarily bad, but they're kind of spinning their wheels all the time, just kind of getting confused because they've lost their why. They don't know like they used to, or maybe they never knew why they're doing all that they're doing. And for a lot of people, part of their why is going to be their family, and other people, it's going to be their friend groups or whatever. And all that's not bad. Those are good whys. I will tell you that they'll leave you empty in the end. And if you really want to make everything you're doing make sense, then do it for Jesus. Do it for the Lord. Read your Bible, get to know what He actually has to say, and then do it. It gives your life so much meaning. And that's not to say you won't have times where things are hard and things don't make sense and you're frustrated. I just went through that last month. It was one of the hardest months I've ever had. Mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, spiritually exhausted, and just feeling stuck because I don't make like any money at my job, barely enough to pay my bills. Sorry, hitting the tripod. I don't feel like I'm making traction like I feel like I should, and so I was getting a little down about it and frustrated and angry because I felt like I wasn't accomplishing what I had to do. And what I really needed to do is take a day off, take a Sabbath, and sit down with the Lord again and kind of refocus and recenter. And when I did that and I realized that I am still doing what He's called me to do, the results are up to Him. It's not my job to create a result. It's my job to be obedient and to walk out the action that He's given me. And so that's what I try to do. That's my why. So y'all need to understand and know your why. It makes everything make sense. It tells you how to spend your money. It tells you how to spend your time. It tells you everything. And understanding your why, especially as us believers, our why should always come back and be centered on Christ. And part of that is taking a Sabbath and resting. There is huge importance for taking time to relax. If you study Sabbath, you start to learn what that looked like for the ancient Israelites and kind of what God's intent for that was. It's not just a day where you're not going to your 9 to 5 or something like that. It's legitimately a day to stop, to put the world on hold. It is a good idea, in my opinion, to not just watch TV that entire day, but to genuinely rest, to sleep, to pray and meditate with the Father, to enjoy family time if you have family, and enjoy your wife if you have a wife, all that kind of stuff. And that single action will help you stay focused on what your why is. There's a lot of biblical principles that if people just apply them to their lives, they'd find themselves far less depressed and far less frustrated. And again, not to say that those times won't come, because we're human. That stuff happens, but yeah, everything's just better when you're obedient. When he's the reason that you do anything, or that you do whatever you do. Like again, I've mentioned in other videos, I lead the safety team at my church. I'm about to start leading a men's group at the church. We're part of the men's group, leading one of the small groups for the men's group at the church. And a lot of what I do isn't things I chose to do. Like, yes, I said yes to them, but a lot of them I didn't really want to do personally. I just believe that that's what God was telling me to do, so that's what I went and did. And it's been hard and it's been amazing all at the same time, and it's made things so much more worth it. The exhaustion from having so much going on doesn't weigh on me as heavily when I am able to stay focused on the why. And when I'm obedient, I take my day to rest and actually sit with the Father and refocus on the reason I do everything that I do. And that's not, again, saying you need to say yes to everything. You just need to do. Nope, that's not biblical. It's not. You need to obey the Father. When he says go, you go. When he says sit, you sit. When he says jump, you jump. It's not a question at that point. It's just obedience. But you don't just say yes to man. So again, like I'll use the example from my life of the team I lead at the church, the safety team. When I was approached by the pastor about starting this, because the church had never had one before, so I've stood the whole thing up from the ground up. And I knew that was going to be a lot of work, and I still have a good bit of work to do to put systems in place so that even when I'm no longer at the church, they can continue to build this and thrive and follow the Lord's leading on it with a foundation to actually stand on. And when he approached me about it, my reaction was to just say yes, because I'm doing that kind of thing no matter what when I'm there, because I have family and friends that are there, and I'm going to protect and take care of them. I'm just going to do that. So in the natural, it makes sense in just who I am that I would say yes and just do it. But I stopped. I said, I'm interested, but I need to go pray about it. And so I took some time and I prayed about it, and I asked the Lord what I was supposed to do. And he told me to go ahead and take it, and so I did. And one of the big reasons I really had to stop and ask him about it was because when I first started going to this church, God told me I was going to be taking a step back from serving, which was really weird for me, because at my last church I was heavily involved, especially on Sunday mornings, but I did everything with them, from working in child care to youth to small groups and young adult stuff. I was a janitor there. I was an usher and a greeter, and did setup, helped with maintenance, did all kinds of stuff. And it was all good, but I was tired when I left. And part of the reason I was tired is when God told me to step back, I didn't. And so he had to force me into a season of rest. And we got to this new church, and he told me that I was going to be in a season of rest. So I had to make sure that I wasn't stepping outside of his timing to say yes. And he said I wasn't, so I was stepped forward and I did it. And I'm still doing it, and it's been great. I do have to constantly remind myself that I have to say no to some things. I have to be disciplined to actually have my Sabbath and keep the main thing the main thing. Otherwise, I start trying to pour out of an empty cup, because I'm not getting refilled the way I need to. Because I do read my Bible pretty much every day. I either have read and listened, or I've listened to it, or I've read it, one or the other, or both. Every day I'm constantly in prayer, constantly listening to the Father. But there is something different when you take that day to just sit. And sometimes you got to say no to things that in the natural would make sense and be good things to do. But if he's saying no, it's a no, man. So, yeah. Keep the main thing, man, and understand your why. All right. Peace, guys.